Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect. Today's beverages. A quite interesting apple, pear and lime juice drink, quite a zesty beverage indeed. So welcome back to the game and new series. In the previous series we were doing the permanent lockdown facility, which was at first a bit of a gamble. I had no idea if it was even possible nor was going to be very effective. As it turns out, it's probably the best way to play the game. We had ridiculous money because we had obviously green energy from the very beginning, which is something I'm pretty much just going to default for the time being anyway. But we also had inmates ranging from low, medium, high, and then supermax, and the latter of which, they just behaved themselves, so we were getting all that money with none of the risk. So yeah, it did feel like a bit of an exploit, but it is an intended game mechanic, so I guess it, technically wasn't. In this series, obviously, we were focusing on gangs as per title and thumbnail and all that, with a bit of a different angle. Now, previously, we've done gangs and legendary. That's probably one of the most popular series, actually, aside from like Mega Prison. We've also done one where we have, say, gangs, but we separate off the leaders, so the leaders never interact with any, they don't recruit any lieutenants, which means there's no players, which basically removes the whole gang thing in the first place. If you put them on punishments, obviously everything will kick off, so what you do is you just separate them off into their own every cell where they have absolutely everything, and then they never leave, and like I say, it invalidates the gang thing. We're not going to do that. I think we're just going to keep it a bit more default, maybe a bit more vanilla, just for the sake of trying something different. Either way, let's go ahead and we'll do a bit of planning here. Create a new prison, and I think I'm just going to go with default options for the most part. For doggos, I do like the companions. It reminds me of Gromit. And what can we go with? Well, we've got the lobbyist, which is halves likelihood of receiving violent, lethal, volatile, deadly, and fighting prisoners. Rita, fearless or stoical, it's half the likelihood of, and suppressed twice as quickly. Periwinkle is doggos, find tunnels easier. People don't think any gang members tunnel, so it doesn't really matter. Pacify is normally the default option, reduces overall temperature. What else have we got? It improves the range of snipers, improves the suppression effect of snipers. Not something we actually really go with, actually. You know what? I'm going to pick... do I want to pick that? Because most of the things will be out indoors anyway. Yeah. All guards drop staff keys less often, and guard stamina replenishes on intake. I mean, we could do that. I don't think I've ever had a run with Hawk Hartman. Yeah, I'm going to do that one. Okay, let's go with a medium-sized facility with 50,000 generic units of currency. It's a default plot type. Weather intensity we're not going to have on. Fog of War is not on. Gangs we'll come back to. This is like the legacy setting. You have to go to DLC settings to enable it properly. More on that later. I'll put on fairly conditions, and I will generate some forests just for money. Fog of War is off because it's easier for you to see things, and we are going to have on escape plans and mutators. We want to have, well, we're not going to have all legendary prisoners. We've done that in the past. It's going to be, where is it? There's one, gang warfare. Only gang members will arrive in your prison. We're going to turn that on. And we're not going to have on any of the super dogs or super guards because, like I said, they're not all going to be legendary. Weather intensity is off. Rat infestation definitely off. We're not going to have island bound. We've done a couple of island ones recently. Prisoner aging is normally the default one that we turn on. Gangs, we are going to set it to high rating. And we're going to have 10 lieutenants, lieutenants, and special gang reputations. Gangs are given new reputations that modify the way the members behave in your prison. We're going to turn that on. And I think that is pretty much it. Let's just click play and load in. So as I said, this is episode 1 of the series, so this is where we do planning. I know most people tend to enjoy that, so that's fair enough, but if it's not for you, feel free to skip to the next episode where we actually just start on construction. Over to intake, and I'm going to turn that to closed. I actually want to do max sec and supermax as a standard option, but we don't have it. They're unavailable, so we might have to do the other ones first. So we will get rid of the letter. We don't need to read that again. Grants we will pick up later on. Let's just go to planning and walls, and we're going to run this in here. Now, this is going to be a bit different, again, from some of the builds we've done previously, mainly because I want to I want to avoid just making just a box. I've been doing a lot of facilities where they are just quite boxy. I bet I could probably guesstimate that one. They're quite boxy. Now, this will obviously just be a lot of series of boxes, it being the nature of the game. However, what I was planning on doing is having basically like 3 almost cell blocks like this, and then stuff off this side. I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're going to have, well, yeah, you'll have seen it on the thumbnail. One like here, coming down and down like that, and this is where we'll set it up. But now that means there's going to be a lot of space that's not utilised over here and other areas. So I just want to get it out there that, you know, we can utilise that space later on. We can add in more buildings. But that's not the original plan. So yes, I just want to make a noteworthy point now that yes, definitely we'll be losing some space, and no, that's not going to be a problem for us. We can always put green energy in there. So I just need to measure this. I believe it's 120. Yes, it is. So we need to go to 100 and... well, no, we need to go to 60, so it should be there. Just going to double check the measurement on that one. So that is 60, and then measure from the middle one here, and that is also 60. So that is the middle of the facility. So we'll just run a line in here just to give us the the line in total, and see where the middle is, because we're going to obviously start to have more stuff placed. Let's just go with an entranceway in the middle here, and yeah, I probably will do something like that. I'll come back to this one. This is just going to have doors on there, and most likely doors on there as well, to gain access to this contraband throwing area. It's a distance of 10 in the inside, so as long as it's distance of 10 between the walls and the perimeter, then you're all good. No contraband could be thrown in. Not too sure what the rest of the building is going to be like, but anyway. So the limiting size is going to be the top one, isn't it? So I'm going to find the middle of that. Let's see where this is. It's going to 115. There's not going to be a middle, is there? Okay. It's going to be based on the height. What I want to do, again, something a bit different, is there are certain rooms in the game that can be controlled by the gangs. Of note is common room, gymnasium, I believe yard potentially, but I'm not too sure about the canteen. Yeah, can't recall basically. But there's a bit of a quirk, and it's not an exploit. I think it is a notable thing that when you have guards in a room that's been captured, you can sort of decapture it. Or if you've got more guards and the gang members that are making a play for that room, they won't be able to take it. However, there's an interesting bit that also applies if the guards are adjacent. So, for example, if we were to have a room, like say this is security, and there's 10 guards in here, as long as there's a door to the next room, if this was say a common room, the guards here will affect this room. So that's what I want to do. I want to have in the middle probably one of the biggest security rooms we ever made, and inside that security room we're going to have an armory and a kennel. It's a bit dangerous putting it so close to the inmates, but again, trying something different here. And the buildings that can be taken over, so common room, let's say common room, gym, yard, maybe canteen, they're going to go around that. Yeah, that's the plan. That is the plan. Okay, so for the cell block, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this down, and I'm basically going to make a square, aren't I? So what's that? Let's go 46 there, and oh, it's 44. Okay, so actually that has just answered my own question. So it's going to be 44 and 44. But then I'm going to have to bring it back by 2. So it's going to be 42 is the distance. Okay, that's fine. So 42. That's where the line of the cell block goes. 42. So that's the end of the cell block. And we know the middle, which is fine. But the middle is going to be a bit different too. Because what I want to do is have in a section like this, where we can have guards patrolling along here and seeing into like the cells at the back. That's the goal. So here's the cells. I don't know if this is going to measure up, but I will find out soon enough as we are coming along. Standard size cells, nothing surprising here, 3 by 2. So just measuring across. It's not going to line up, is it? It's not lining up. Right, what I should have done is measured from this side, because that's the marker that cannot be moved. So, and then whatever's left at the front, I don't really care. I'll do that. Alright, so that goes down. Similar thing on this side. And I'm going to have to copy this to all of the other ones as well. So this internal one here is going to be, this is going to be staff only. And we have armed guards patrolling. This will be either barred wall, or more likely it's going to be the the glass wall, because you can shoot through that. I don't make the game, but you can. That's fine. Is this a gap of 4? It is a gap of 4. That has actually helped out a lot. So I'm going to go gap of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then go along like that, and basically copy this side. How on earth did that line up? Definitely more luck than judgment on that one. Okay, so this is where we have one of the cells. And, I mean, I could do that if necessary, and yeah, that's fine. So this is from the middle. Oh, actually, wait, and also I'll put gap 2 there, and this is going to come along, and that's going to be again staff only. Now, there is a bit of a risk in doing this, because not so much in the normal mode, but in escape mode, you can punch through a wall 1 tile, which is why in the past I've made it either 4 in the middle, or I've made it 3 so they can see if you've got, like, say, that, you've got your patrols that are away from the wall. But because of this, because we're making this in the centre, we can't do that. 14 to there, so 14, then it comes along, and I'll do the other side. And obviously I'll need to put the doors in, but I might do that after the fact. Don't want to waste your time. It's after all quite precious. And that is the cell design. It is a size of 42 by 36. So, yeah. 42. Where does 42 bring us to? Oh, I've got it wrong, haven't I? Sort of. Sort of. By 36. Yeah, I didn't account for these bits. Okay. This has already taken a bit of a dramatic turn. Alright. I mean, I can work with it, I think. Let's just continue on. 36. 36. So, coming down, it's going to go there. 42 by 36. Yeah, that doesn't work. Okay. I can fix it by doing that. I say fix it, it's not fixed it, it's augmented it. It means that you've basically got now 2 cell blocks instead of 1. But I don't really mind. 37 goes to there. Just going to double check that measurement. 37. 37. 37. And that's more like what I was after. Now I could shift these along to the left a bit more. And I will. So it was, what's the distance? 36. So 36 to there. So that comes up. Shift that. Shift that. We'll do another measurement just to double check. 37 by 36. 37 by 36. Good. Comes down, across, remove those, and get rid of that. That goes to there. That's removed there. Okay. These points here, by the way, I'll probably just seal off and have in, I think, having maybe a... I don't know, actually. I could have these as yards and have a security room in the middle, but the whole idea was to try and have one large security room and then the other 4 rooms connected to it. I have a feeling that's not entirely going to pan out as intended. I mean, we can always have these as staff-only areas. I mean, what would it look like? I don't want to shrink it down any further. I don't want to shrink these cells down much further. But I think I'm going to have to. Yeah, I'm going to have to shrink them down even further. Let me just put the measurement in. Is it going to be just 2 more down? It is. I'm going to have to remove, pull them back by another 2. So that. For it to actually work as I mentioned. 36. So it is 36, like that, by, hang on, 36, which one's the right one now? That one. Right, so it's that, by 31. That's what I'm after. Perseverance. We've got there in the end. Nobody's watching anymore, but we got there in the end. Right, good. So that goes to 36. Comes down. Just going to double check that. Should line up with this perfectly, which it does. Remove this. Remove this. Put it back in. Yeah. So I'm just going to double check that one again. I always like to measure 36. 36. So I'll put in the other bits later on. I'm just going to get the block, sort of block work done. Okay. And yeah, is that correct? I think so. I'm just going to measure from that corner to the far end. 71. 71. Right, that's what I was after. Okay, I'm happy with that. Doors, like that, and like that. And we're going to have a pathway of... Do we have a pathway of 4 or 2? I think I might just go 2, because otherwise we'll be, yeah, losing too much space. So this is going to be pretty much one big building. And inside this building, we're going to have essentially 4 rooms. So we can have a canteen in here. Let me just put some objects in like this and like this. And that'll 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay, 40, 80, 120 inmates. I might need a slightly bigger canteen. I always oversize the canteens. It's just a thing. Right, so that's one room. We then need a common room, which I'm going to say might be 10. I'm going to say gym. I think it's too big. Yeah, it's going to have to be 8. 8 and 8. So, actually, it doesn't have to be that. Why does it have to be that? Why am I saying that? 9 by 9. I just think it's a little bit too small in the middle, because that's going to be our security room. Just going to double check the measurement. 10 and 10. So this comes back over. Have I made that far too big? 8. 16. Be 32. By the time we get the other stuff in and we get toilet blocking and such, I think that might be okay, but I'm probably going to come back to that one, as always. So we're going to say this maybe is a gym. This is a common room, and we do need a yard, which is going to go on the back, maybe. You know what I might do? I'm gonna alter this. I'm gonna put the canteen right at the back. This is gonna be a big, just one big building. I'll need reception and such, but I can put it in any of this, so I'm not too worried. And like I said, there's loads of spare room up here, so it doesn't really matter. What was that? Was it 22, did I say? 22. I don't like that, though. Yeah, I don't like the way that's... Like, they're very insecure, isn't it? You know what I might do? I'll have this bigger, and that'll be reception. Yeah. Okay. Still have to have doors going in. Probably only be size 1, actually, because there won't be much traffic. Alright, so I'm going to have to remove that, come down. The pathways will run across and up. I'm going to have to put a lot of security around here, because we're going to go with 22, 22, and then down. Is that right? 22 and 22. So that's the security room. Inside the security room, we're going to have in an armory and a kennel. But how am I going to do that? Because that will need to go... You'll need to have a walkway around, and that's not going to... It's not going to sit well, is it? No, not big enough. Kennel needs to be 5 by 5, I think. Search for Kenneth, 5 by 5. Yep. Okay. I will have to shrink these rooms again then. Not that that's a problem, because thinking about it, it's actually going to go along a lot further, because the yard is going to go and just be... Well, is it going to be the same size as this? 7. It's going to be a bit too small for my liking. We're going to have it as 12. 12 internal. Yeah, that's fine. This comes down. That gets removed. That comes along to there. So I'm going to have to shrink this down. That's 9. 9. And it means that we can have, inside the security room, we can have a kennel, we can have an armory. Something like that. And then you have doors. These doors will be positioned such that you can get in to these rooms from any side. So it means that there's no staff-only area to go into the middle. You have to go through these rooms, but that's the plan. That's the idea. I don't know if it's a good idea, but it's an idea. Okay, so we've got that. What I'm going to do is go for deliveries. I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to go with garbage. Don't know why I've made it 14. There's no reason why we can't. Exports. 14. Storage. Tend to put up and out the way. And that's in. Okay, sorted. So this is going to be the security room. It then will project out all of its influence. We don't need an armory that big. The kennel's probably going to be bigger, but we shall see. Having it in the middle is just risky. Yeah, but I too like to live dangerously. Okay, let's think about... We've got 2 huge areas that we don't really have any purpose for. I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say this will be something and this will be something. Very, very lazy of me. I'm aware. Normally we plan things out a bit more with more detail, but There's no reason why we can't just say, look, it's a thing. We know it's going to be a thing. It's a building full of things. All of the ancillary stuff, so like visitation, chapel, parole, fight club, that meeting rooms, they can go in these areas. There's a big area over here and here that we have no purpose for. I know immediately I can hear people now in the comments shouting forestry, but the gangs don't work, so it would just have to be a staff-only forestry. I'm not opposed to it. We can do that, and that will help us make some cash money. That needs to be sealed up. So I'm just going to double check the measurement to the middle. It's 15. So from here, 15. So that is the middle, apparently. Is it? I'll measure and check. Are these equal parts? 14 and 14. Yes. Okay, I'm going to do both the top and bottom and see what that looks like. Okay, so that is the plan in brief. We have, I say 3 cell blocks. Technically it's 6, but if you think each one will house one type of... Well, here's the thing. I was going to say each one's going to house one type of gang member. So you've got Bone Breakers, Jackals, and Slytherin. I can't remember what the other one was. Either way, that may or may not happen depending on the micro heavy nature of it. The main thing was to have this central security room projecting influence on the buildings, or at least the majority of buildings that can be captured. I think this room is probably a bit oversized, but we can always put some other stuff in it. We've got a gymnasium, we've got in the common room, we've got in this thing, which is going to be the... what is that going to be again? Oh yeah, that's the yard, so that's going to be indoors. Actually, sorry, yeah, can you have an indoor yard? Yard. It can be, I think. It doesn't say. It just says minimum size 5x5, secure behind at least one door. Doesn't say it needs to be outside, whereas other things, like if we go with a gym, it says must be indoors. Vegetable allotment definitely says outdoor. So yard, no reason why you can't have an indoor yard. I might just do full indoor then. These big squares have just got... it's an open-ended thing. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. So what haven't we got? Well, there's a lot we haven't got. We haven't got any solitary. We haven't got any kitchen. Let's just go down the list, and it'll be more that we haven't got than we've got. So cells, yes, we've got, I think it was 120. Holding cells, we're not going to have one. Solitary, I will have one, but I don't know where. It could be this building and this building will have some amount of solitary. Canteen, yes. Over here, kitchen's just going to be off to one side. In fact, this left side bit is going to probably resemble the last, the previous build. I said I didn't want to make squares, and we've just made a big square. Yes, anyway, over to rooms, and we've got things like showers, no, we're going to have them inside their cells. Ideally, you wouldn't do that with gangs, but it's just convenient. Either that, or again, we put it over say here, but that's a lot of travel for these inmates. I mean, I could put it in here and in here, because these could be buildings as well. But they all are going to congregate, and it's going to become a bit of a mess. Anyway, we've talked about yards. Yes, we have. Security is definitely in the middle. Workshop, we're not having any. Infirmary is going to be in either this side area or over here. Probably going to be larger infirmary than usual because of, well, gangs. Kennels and armory is going to be in the centre. Ideally it wouldn't be, but it seems to fit. Either that or I shift it over here. There's no reason why the armory has to be here. There's actually no reason why the kennel has to be here, truth be told, but having a central kennel is always useful. Let me know what you think on that one. I'm actually thinking of shifting it just to over here, just be more secure, and it means we have a much bigger security room, which means we can staff it with more people. Let's see, morgue we're not having one, common room we've discussed it's going to be either top or bottom one. Laundry we'll have it off board so that the workers can do it, the janitors and such. Visitation, if we have one, it'll be in one of these buildings, probably actually in both, although I'm very tempted just in the yard to put phone booths and put calling booths in the common room. I haven't decided. Cleaning cupboard, not having one. Kennel and armory, we've discussed that. Staff room will be on the right. Library, probably not having one. Forestry, if we do, it'll be in one of these side areas. Classroom, again, probably not, but it's going to be one of these big buildings. We'll split this up. Chapel, similar thing. Parole, do we need one? We probably will. Reception is in the front. Mailroom, we're not having one. Shop, we're not having one. Gymnasium is going to be either this top room or the bottom one. All the padded stuff we're not bothered with. Gym's going to be, like I say, we've talked about that one, yeah. All the allotment stuff we're not having. Meeting room we're not having. Cage, we don't really bother with the cage. Yeah, tattoo removal, we definitely want one of those, although, truth be told, I've never really had any great success with it. I mean, that's more me than anything else, obviously. But no, the whole reform thing for the programs that you can run, I've never really had any success with the ex-gang member things. I've just never had success with it, really. Even though we focused on it in the past. Don't know what that says more about the build than anything else, but still. I think that just about covers it. Fight Club, I don't think we're going to have same as cinema, but if we do, we can go over here. Alright, so it's been a bit more scattershot than in the past. We normally do plan off quite meticulously, but we don't need to, and the main thing that we covered was this central bit. Let me know what you think about the design. Obviously, things can change between recording of the episodes, which is normally a couple of days. And yeah, we'll see how we get on. That's been a bit of Prison Architect for our all-gang facility that focuses on suppression, essentially. And yeah, if they want to make a play, they can do, but the guards are always going to win by their passive nature. That's assumed that the wiki is correct. So, yes, if it's on Wikipedia, we know it's right. That's the law. We'll see how we get on. Even if it doesn't have that suppression effect, I just like this really big... I like the idea of this really big central security room. Yeah, okay. What did say this was going to be? This was going to be the kitchen, not kitchen and canteen. It's going to be a canteen. We can probably do, yeah, a lot of cells, a lot of seating in here actually. Yeah, it's your standard size really, 3x2. And I don't know where the swerving tables are going to be swerved at, but I can probably just cut maybe some of these off and put them on that side. We'll see how we get on. Anyway, that's been a bit of Prison Architect. Let me know what you think, and we will go from there. Hope you have enjoyed it. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic partings.